And I just press live.
Yeah.
Wicked. And then
Tab. So, you want the next one. There you go. And that's it.
right. Hi guys, I'm just waiting for a few moments because this is a live recording, just to make sure that it is live on Facebook before I continue, that you guys knows what I'm like. Perfect, so we are ready to fly. I'm just quickly making sure that everybody who wants to know knows that I am ready to go. Sorry about this. Right, we're good. We're golden. We're on. Lovely. So, welcome back. I hope you've had a good week this past week. I know it's been on a Sunday twice now, so I am considering changing it to Spanish Sundays, to be honest. But that is something we'll see how things go, because, you know, at the end of the day, your health problems, when you've got health problems, they take over your life a little bit. But we'll see what we'll see how well we'll do today, and hopefully everything will go hunky-dory. Well, muy bueno. Anyway, so welcome back, and today we're going to learn some interesting stuff, I suppose. I hope it is interesting. It's very essential, but it's also, I'm hoping that I've thrown in something a little bit more fun, just to kind of help you guys pick up what we're learning as well, because to be quite honest, grammar is hard. I don't think it matters what language that is. Even English grammar is quite hard. So yeah, it can be really hard, and then it can be frustrating. So I'm trying to make it a little bit easier as things get a little bit more difficult, because, well, more fun as it gets more difficult, then it's usually a little bit easier, or people enjoy what they're doing so they don't care too much. We'll see. So welcome back. Of course, I will always put these in the front just so that you guys can recap. I'm not going to go over the alphabet again, and don't worry, I'm not going to go over the numbers again. They're just there in case you want to practice, and you can kind of just recap on what you've learned so far. They're just there, you know, because you can hit pause at any time if you're watching this back later in replay or on YouTube. Of course, we did recently also go over the months of the year. So I have put them here again just to kind of, as a reminder really, because they are fairly new to this learning experience that we're having. So I've put these back on there. Again, it's just something that if you wanted to pause, quickly write these down, or you wanted to practice them with your family or friends or whoever you're with at the moment, or by yourself, wicked. So it's just something that can kind of help you recap on the months of the year, because naturally they're important too. But I will quickly run through those very quickly because they are fairly new to our learning so far. So we'll start with enero, febrero, marzo, abril, mayo, junio, julio, agosto, septiembre, octubre, noviembre, diciembre. And of course, los días de la semana: lunes, martes, miércoles, jueves, viernes, sábado, domingo. I do love the days of the week in Spanish for some reason. They've just got a nice rhythm to them. And of course, we did go through some colours. I think this was last week, but we did have an awful lot of colours to go through. So I'm not going to sort of overload you, and I'm not going to go over these because they're just there for your reference, really. But of course, if you want to recap on the other colours, because there's more than just your basic colours, primary colours and secondary colours, there's all those other ones like turquoise and gold and silver. Yeah. So, I'm going to recap a little bit on the articles that we did last week with the feminine and the masculine, and this also applies to like un and una as well. But just to sort of recap on the rules, which can be broken as we know, but of course these are sort of the basic rules just to give you a rough idea when you are writing in Spanish or you're speaking in Spanish and you're not sure if a word is feminine or masculine. This is a rough guide to give you sort of, okay, that's probably feminine, or that's probably masculine, unless it meets one of those exceptions to that rule. But of course, so if you have a masculine word that you've come across, you would either use el or los, and these words generally end in o, e. They might end in any of the a, e, I, o, u, but that would be a stressed vowel, so it would be a, e, I, o, u. And of course, any words that end in ma. They're generally Greek words, and they're often seen as masculine. So, for example, sistema is one example, idioma another example as well, el idioma. And of course, feminine, we would use la and las, which these words would end in a, de, ce, tion. So, for example, habitación, la habitación, for example. Obviously, things aren't always just strictly these rules, but it's just giving you the idea. So I have given you some more examples, pretty much sort of recapping on the words that I gave you last week, with a few thrown in as well. Like I mentioned, el sistema, los sistemas, el idiomas, los idiomas, el hombre, los hombres. I should have put women on the other side, really. That could have gone well, couldn't it? Silly me. And of course, the feminine words, things like la sociedad, las sociedades, la reina, las reinas. And for women, I know I haven't written it down, but you would have la mujer and las mujeres. Yeah. And of course, I've borrowed this from last week's lesson, where we have that really, really cheeky neutral article, lo, which really just describes an adjective. So we're going to, when we're using an adjective to describe a noun, for example, so saying like something is the best or the greatest or what have you, we would use lo in front of that adjective rather than el or la. And I have recapped on that as well. So when we are describing something, so for example, this is the good thing about you, eso es lo bueno de ti, or lo simple de vivir contigo, the simple thing of living with you. Yeah, it's weird, isn't it? But it's cool. And of course we have the other articles, so where we have el, la, they're mainly when we're saying the something. We also have when we're saying a or a few of something. Of course, we also have the feminine and masculine forms as well, because words are feminine or masculine in Spanish. So it's like un, unos for plural, una for feminine, unas for plural. So for example, I just recapped on that as well. We've got una chica, unas chicas, for example. So some girls. So this is where it's going to get a little bit fiddly. This is the contracted article. So this is a rule that happens especially in Spanish grammar and some other languages as well. I think French do it as well, but there's slightly different rules to it. So a contracted article generally occurs with the particle el. So when we are saying, for example, we are going to somewhere or something belongs to somebody, we would use a contracted article if we are using the particle, sorry, that was my Japanese learning there, sorry about that, article el. So for example, I go to the restaurant. As the word restaurant or restaurante in Spanish is masculine, we would need to use the word or the particle el. But we are going to the restaurant, and so we need the help of another article, which is a. A plus a article usually means going to the something, so, or somewhere, of course. So how would we put that together? So we, in Spanish, generally you don't put a el restaurante. you could always say a la something with a feminine word, but of course when it has el, that's a little bit special. It's a bit different, a bit unique. So instead of what we wouldn't say voy a el restaurante. No, it doesn't sound right, it doesn't flow right, and that's because L begins with a vowel, and it just a L. That's just doesn't quite. If you've heard Spanish people speak, or Spanish speakers, generally when they speak, it flows very, very smoothly from one word to the next, and a L, that doesn't sound right at all. So, what we do, we add those two words together. So, a L, we would combine those two to make al. So the correct sentence, in fact, would be voy a restaurante. Voy al restaurante. However, this rule, as I say, only applies to when we have a L in a sentence. So we need to merge them into al. But when you have the other particles, so the plural, for example, los, for los restaurantes, you wouldn't need to say al. Oh God, how would you say that if you were to merge it? I can't even imagine it. So you would actually just treat that as normal. So you would a los, and for feminine, it's the same. You would just a la, a las. It is literally just for L. So that way, I think sort of going this way is a little bit easier to remember. Just remember that a L, it's a little bit unique in the way we will use it in Spanish when we're going to something, for example, the restaurant in this case. That's one contracted article. And now I'm sorry to make it a little bit more difficult, but there's another one, which, yes, is de plus article. And of course, the culprit is again el, not los or la or las. They're totally fine. They're absolutely fine. They're staying the way they are. That's brilliant. We're quite happy with that. So it is just el. So when we're using when we're using de, it generally means that we are speaking. For example, I've put a sentence here: la estatua de la libertad, the Statue of Liberty. I thought that was one we all, most of us around that are watching this video probably know what that is, the Statue of Liberty. Although, fun fact, there is actually one in Paris, a lot smaller, but there is one. La estatua de la libertad, the Statue of Liberty. Although when we say that in Spanish, we would say the Statue of the Liberty. I know it doesn't sound quite right, but just roll with it. However, of course, that naughty L, being itself, being unique, we can't do that, because again we've got that vowel e in L, so we change that to del. For example, if we use the phrase el fin de el mundo, the end of the world, which I thought was also quite sorry, it's not a bad joke, I'm really sorry, but it does feel like that right now, doesn't it, in lockdown. But de el mundo, that's not correct. That just sounds too bitty. De el mundo, no one in the Spanish speaking world speaks like that, so we merge to make del, so it'll be el fin del mundo. That's correct, and it also sounds a bit better, doesn't it? El fin del mundo, el fin de el mundo. It doesn't sound right, does it? So when we have de, it becomes del, but it can be, but it's for la, los, la, and las. It's de la, de las, de los, and of course del. And then of course we've got a, al, a, los, a, la, a, las. Simple. And breathe, everybody. So the next one that I think we need to learn, because we're going to need to make some proper sentences. Well, we're going to need to use proper pronouns, because it's all very well and good me teaching you these little bits and sentences that you need to know, but how are you going to talk about yourself other than what I've already taught you? So I thought, you know what, it's about time we get onto this pronoun thing, because there's a few of them. There really is quite a few of them. And of course, this is very important for when we start learning more and more about verbs. There is a couple of verbs that we're going to learn today and how they're conjugated, mainly for the purpose of just some exercises that we're going to run through together. But don't worry, we'll run through them bit by bit. And if you do feel overwhelmed, when you watch this back, you can always pause and sort of take your time with this video. So for saying I or myself, we would use yo. Yo. For you, I apologise, I have made a minor mistake with that. The tu, the u, is meant to have an accent on there. That's meant to be stressed. Tu. You. For he, el, but el. Bit more emphasis on the el. For she, or her, I suppose, ella, ella, and they, which I briefly recapped last week on the gender neutral form, which I found out, ella, ella. A formal way of saying you, now we tend to do this with people of authority, people that are older, or people we don't know, we would use usted, usted. For us, so that's technically first person plural, so say me and you were doing something together, we would say nosotros. Or if we're both female, we would say nosotras. But nosotros is also okay. Nosotros, it means we do something, or we're referring to us collectively. And of course, he, she, and they will have their own plural forms. Now, when we're referring to that, we're really meaning they as in a group of guys, or a group of ladies, or girls or boys, or people. If anyone knows about the gender neutral form of ella, and if that is at all the correct conjugation, because I gave a guess on that one. Yes, this is a very new word to me. I mean, you might get a group of gender neutrals together, so perhaps that might fit. However, there is some not so nice rules in the Spanish language, but this is quite common in the majority of the language. So when we are saying the masculine form of they, we would say ellos, and for feminine it's ellas. However, now we're talking about a group of people, more than one. However, we get a group of guys, we would say ellos. A group of girls, we say ellas. However, when we have a mixed group of different genders, we would still use ellos. And this also means if you have five women, one man, you would still use ellos, because there is a male present. A male present in the party, we would still use that pronoun ellos. So it's kind of gender neutral in itself, but so if anyone is gender neutral and speaks really good Spanish, feel free to come forward and sort of educate me on the plural form of ella, because I would really like to sort of expand my knowledge on that. When we're talking about you, plural, now again we have two words for you in Spanish. We have tú, which if we're talking and we're being informal, we would use tú. If we were talking to each other, but there's more than, if I was talking to two of you, for example, I would actually use vosotros. Now I know that's at the bottom, but you would see vosotros, which is the informal but plural form of you. If I'm being polite, so perhaps I don't know you, or perhaps you're an authority figure, or perhaps you're older than me, I would use for a plural you, ustedes. Ustedes. Okay? Feel free to keep going over this if you need to, because it's quite a lot to take in. And of course, as I said, with the gender neutral terms, if you do know a bit more about that, please feel free to correct me, because I'm not 100% sure on the plural form of ella, so do let me know. But the other things are correct, of course. Right, so I did tell you we are doing some verbs today, guys, so this is where it gets a little bit fun and complicated. But for now, I'm not going to completely overload you with all the conjugations that there is. We're going to just stick to the present for the moment until we're ready to move on to other tenses. So today we're going to start with the verb ir, which means literally to go. Like, I go to the shops, I go swimming, I go home, I go to work. You're going somewhere, basically. So in Spanish, it really is up to you if you want to use the pronoun first. I've put them in brackets there, as you can see, because it just gives you what verb conjugation refers to what pronoun or person or whomever we're speaking of. But you can, if you want to, use the pronoun and the verb conjugation, but you don't have to. You can actually just gently snip those away and just use the verb conjugation on its own. I hope that makes sense. So you could say your boy, or you could just say boy. That's up to you. But I'm just going to go with how I normally speak Spanish, which I won't use the pronouns unless I actually need to use the pronouns. So I obviously when I get to ellos or ellas, that's usually a little bit more. You do need to make that kind of distinguishable pronoun in there. But generally, Spanish people know what you're talking about when when you're saying these conjugations of these verbs. They know who you're referring to. But of course, it's more of a formality, if I'm honest. So voy, tú, for tú is vas. Now, to make life easier, this is one thing I must admit I'm grateful for with the Spanish language, is when we use the third person singular or the third person plural for, and also the formal you, plural or singular, that is the same conjugation of the verb, which is brilliant because it makes my life so much easier. So it kind of gives you a little less work, just a little bit. So for él or ella or usted, you would use va. Nosotros vamos. You may have heard me if you know me. Occasionally I will say vámonos or vamos, which means like let's go. I love that phrase very much. Vámonos is more like using the first part of nosotros at the bottom of the word or the back at the end of the word. So vámonos. I like that phrase. I use it all the time, and I realise not everyone speaks Spanish, but most people will figure out what I mean usually. But nosotros is vamos. For vosotros, so we're talking about an informal, so a friend, maybe a family member, but you're talking to more than one person, we would use vais. And for third person plural, so a group of guys, a group of ladies, a group of gender neutral people, or of course second person, but we're saying to somebody that we don't know, but a collection of people we don't know, maybe a wide audience, ustedes, we would use van. So voy, vas, va, vamos, vais, van. Okay, so it's literally I go, you go, he, she, they go, and also you, but I'm being polite to you, you go. we go. Oh, and you go, but you know, family members, you go and they go, or my audience, perhaps if I'm being formal, you go. So it's a lot. It's a lot to take in, but yeah, it's me doing a lot of animation there. So voy, vas, va, vamos, vais, van. Give it a lot of practice because it does take some time, but don't worry. This is one of the easier verbs in the present tense because it does get a bit more complicated in other tenses, I must admit. But don't worry, I'm not going to overload you with all the tenses right now. But if you want to learn them, by all means. But this is mainly for some exercises we're going to do. So today we're going to use what we've just learned with ir, voy, vas, va, van, etc. So we're going to use all those, and we're going to look at places we can go to so that we can use that verb in practice, basically. So I collected some verbs, some vocabulary for you. Actually, it was quite simple. I just put places in the city, things that you'd see when you're going around, like maybe your local town or city, for example. So I just thought, yeah, we'll start with these and then we'll go from there. So we've got el parque, los edificios. So that is actually offices, like office buildings kind of thing. La universidad, university, but I think that looks quite similar really. El ayuntamiento, el teatro, that's a theatre. El supermercado, literally supermarket, because it looks very similar, doesn't it? El supermercado. But you can also use the word mercado, which is for market. So it's, yeah, quite similar. La farmacia, pharmacy. Also the symbol really helps because that's quite a universal symbol. La escuela, school. La iglesia, church. I don't know if anyone knows the Spanish-speaking world, a lot of people in the Spanish-speaking world are very, very religious, especially sort of Catholic as well. But especially in Valencia, there is lots of churches. A lot of churches. And there was one, actually, that I visited that spoke in Latin rather than Spanish. And, whoa. And that was on Plaza de la Reina. In Valencia. Yeah, Valencia. Yeah. It was a long time ago though, so I mean we went on a school excursion just to visit a church and some other things. We had to go and interview some Spaniards as well, which was weird. But as part of our course. On a Sunday. Yeah, oh. La fábrica. Factory, basically. El aeropuerto, airport. La catedral, cathedral. It looks very similar to the English as well. La tienda, shop. Like almost like a merchant, or it sounds very, to me it reminds me of the word like to tender money. So that's how I usually remember la tienda or las tiendas. El hospital, hospital. That's a simple one because it literally is the same word in English, so that's great. El restaurante, restaurant. La estación, station. You may also see la estación del tren, which is train station, or la estación de los autobuses, I think it is, as well. But remind you this. Parada is another one for bus stop. Parada. El estadio, stadium. El estadio. El aparcamiento, parking. Quite handy actually if you do decide that if you ever go to Spain or a Spanish speaking country, you could ask that and they, yeah, I'd probably be quite a handy one to know is where you can park. El cine, cinema. El bar, bar. El hotel, hotel. No, that's the wrong word. Correos, post office, post box. El museo, museum. So how are we going to say these sentences? Because I wasn't just going to teach you some vocabulary and just sort of, you know. So we're going to have a little bit of an exercise. So we go to the restaurant. So let's have a think about that. So if we go back and we see nosotros, right? That's we. That's us. Vamos, right? So we need vamos, and it says restaurant. Well, we know that one because that one looked like the English restaurante. Perfect. Now, was restaurant feminine or masculine? Masculine. And it was el. But remember that we went over just a few minutes ago. Yes, el likes to be unique, so we're going to have to use el, al. Okay. Oh, look, the sentence here, voy al restaurante. So instead of boy, we can use vamos. Brilliant. It was right there. Vamos al restaurante. Next. Sorry, guys. So, for you, informal. Oh, they're the answers. Tu. Right, so we know that. If we just double check that, make sure that's right. Yep. Tu. I'll put it right in that one. Just the other one just messed it up slightly. Tu. Brilliant, so we know that. And if you go, okay, I didn't even check, did I? Tu vas, I do know that off by heart though, so really. Tu vas, so we want to use just bus. Perfect. To the theatre, okay, so let's go back to our grid. And it is, if anyone knows, although I can't tell because I can't see if you're writing to me at the moment, el teatro. Aha, brilliant. Oh, hang on a minute. El teatro, el. We're going to have to use that contracted article again, aren't we? Al. Right, okay. So we want to use bus, al teatro. We go to the theatre. So next, we have I go to the pharmacy. Alright, okay, so let's go back. If you haven't learnt these off by heart by now, you might have now, I don't know. So yo, okay, so that's me. Yo, so what's that? That's going to be voy. Okay, voy. Perfect. So we know that. And what's the next bit? Pharmacy. Okay. So let's find pharmacy. La farmacia. La farmacia. Farmacia. Okay, so that, that's not, that doesn't need a contracted article today, so we can literally use la farmacia. Perfect. So let's just make sure we get that right. So I, which is voy, a la farmacia. Brilliant. She goes to church, or goes to the church, I should have put, really. Okay, she. Okay, so let's go back to that verb, ir, and we'll go down to the third line down, and it says ella for she. Okay, so what's the conjugation for ir, for ella for she? Va. Right, perfect. And the question was, she goes to church. So let's go and look for church. So it's the third line down on the far left. La iglesia. Brilliant. Now, just so we know we're talking about she, could be anybody. I'm gonna say ella va, because we want to make sure that we're talking about her, not him or they, or you formally. Ella. So you don't have to do this, but if you're literally just starting off that sentence, it probably would help. But just, yeah, I think it just sounds a little bit easier. Ella va. Okay, ella va. Okay, we got that. Then we've got a to la iglesia. So we would say ella va a la iglesia. She goes to church, or to the church. So let's see how we've done. Oh, brilliant. We didn't do too badly, did we? So, vamos al restaurante. Tú vas al teatro. Voy a la farmacia. Ella va a la iglesia. Although that feels like it should be contracted, but it isn't. Ella va a la iglesia. No, that is correct. So, how did you do? Well, hopefully very well, because I did it with you. So let's move on to something a little bit more fun. Well, I say fun, this is throwing a lot of vocabulary at you guys right now, so I appreciate if you want to pause it, or if you do click some of the links. If you're watching this on YouTube, there will be some links to the group where I'll be putting a lot of this information out anyway, so then you can access it. Plus I will try and include some website links so that you can always look at different resources, because I've sort of collected resources from all sorts of places, and there's a lot out there actually. It's really helpful, and really, weirdly enough, I actually believe I've seen this sheet before, and I've also seen it for Japanese when I'm learning Japanese as well. So yeah, it was a bit weird, but we're just going to be coming home bit now. So we're going to look at la casa, which is the house, home, here, because most of us right now, I mean, this is May 2020, so most of us right now are in lockdown. So yeah, I thought I'll bring it home a little bit so that we can practice around the house, and also you've probably got a lot of these things around the house, because blimey, there's a lot. There is a real lot, isn't there? Although some of that writing is very small. Although this is a lot better than the handout that I had in class, I must admit, because that was a photocopy. Anyway, la casa. So we have a house, and then we've got rooms of the house, and we call different rooms different things as well, don't we? So we have like living room, bedroom, kitchen, dining room, study, some of us, bathroom, maybe a separate toilet room, I don't know. Some of us do, some of us don't. Garden, garage, if you have any. Everyone's got a different house, I suppose. So these are the ones that I could find that were, well, it turns out there are many different words for the same thing in the Spanish language, but I thought this was the easiest one to kind of look at without kind of, overloading you with a sea of white sort of black text, because that's just too much on the eyes. So I thought I'd do something a little bit more colourful, a bit easier to look at, because it can be quite overwhelming when you've got all these words. You think, I'm not going to take any of this in, and pictures help. I'm a visual learner, I'm dyslexic, so I find it a lot easier to kind of learn when I've got these things around, or I know, well, if I've got little pictures, it kind of helps a little bit. Yeah, it's just the way people learn. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to kind of break down room by room a little bit, although some people might have these in different rooms, who knows. So let's go to el cuarto de baño, or you can also just say el baño in Spanish, and they know you mean the bathroom. And funny enough, the word for bath is el baño or la bañera. You can say either, really. And what else are you going to find in the bathroom? So you're going to find soap, jabón. I think that's right, isn't it? Jabón? Yeah, jabón. I thought I said Jason then, sorry. El jabón. soap. El grifo. Sorry, that word makes me laugh every time. I don't know why. El grifo, which is a tap. El papel higiénico. Higiénico. Sorry, higiénico. Or you could literally just say el papel toilet paper. It's toilet paper. It's toilet paper. Yeah, it's the same, really. El papel toilette, el papel higiénico. Sorry. El higiénico. El cepillo de dentes. So el cepillo, I'm going to have to write these down a bit clearer actually for you guys, because it's really hard to read these, because I'm reading through these just to kind of recap as well, because it's been a long time since I've actually had to do sort of back to basics. El cepillo de dentes, toothbrush, is quite literally el cepillo de toothbrush. Because if you look on the other side, where literally almost the opposite side, it says el cepillo, which is a brush, hairbrush. So just one for your hair, one for your, and hair is I think it's caballo, although it's very similar to the word for horse, so I always get that one wrong. I will check that one. I think it's caballo. I'll get back to you. El agua, I mean, if you're in a bathroom and you don't have water, I'm going to be a bit worried. You might need a plumber. Sorry, what the hell does that say? Now you can kind of say like el toilette. Another word for toilet is aseo. There's a lot of words for the word toilet, it turns out. But for example, we use the phrase ¿Dónde están los aseos? Or los toiletes. Toiletes works perfectly fine. La esponja. Sponge. And if any kids are watching, in the Spanish language, I'm not sure if it's the same in Latin America, but in Spain for sure, because when I was staying there, my senora had a daughter, and she was watching SpongeBob SquarePants, and believe it or not, Bob's name in that is Bob l'Esponja. Bob la Esponja. Bob the Sponge. Bob la Esponja. Bob la Esponja. Yeah, that was literally the song. It wasn't literally SpongeBob SquarePants. And now, mind you, that would be a very, very long word. Because, you know, one thing I did learn about Latin-based languages is that they're very descriptive. And it's nice, but it's very, you know, there's a long way to say such a short thing. In the English language, we've managed to kind of get things really shortened. It's not saying that they don't shorten their words, but yeah. El lavabo, sink, where you might wash or brush your teeth. La ducha, shower. You can also say voy a duchar, because the word ducha or duchar with an R on the end is literally the verb to take a shower. So that's essentially where they've got it from. La toalla. Oh, sorry. La toalla. Sorry. La toalla. La toalla. Towel. La toalla. I forgot this one. La pasta dentifrica. Sorry. Yeah, that always is paste, basically, pasta. It's not literally like people brushing their teeth with penne pasta or spaghetti or anything. It is just paste. And can also be used for pastry, and I think Italian, but it's been a long while. But la pasta dentifrica is literally toothpaste. Dentist. So yeah, Yeah, that's how you know. Like usually when they're talking about teeth is when you've got a d, dente, dentifrica, lo, dentes, teeth. So that's, yeah, it comes from the Latin words. That the old dentist word. La radio, la radio. I mean, you would find that in the bathroom, I suppose. Although I'm now kind of moving into the el cuarto de estar. So it's basically like the room of being. Which, if you say that as an English speaker, in English, as an English person, or British, I prefer, it just sounds really weird, but it makes perfect sense in the Spanish language. But it is literally living room. Another word for living room would also be like el salon, which is very similar to the French actually. El salon. And of course, things that you would find in el salon. Well, according to this worksheet, you would find el cojín, which is a cushion, so that makes perfect sense. I mean, you've got to have some good comfy cushions, haven't you? El cojín. El disco compacto. Oh wow, this was done a long time ago. I mean, has anyone seen a CD recently? You might still be able to buy them, I don't honestly know. But yeah, this is quite an old resource that I've managed to grab for you guys. But el disco compacto, so you might have like a hi-fi or a music system or television. Yep. La maqueta. Sorry, I find this way too funny. La maqueta, a rug? I'm not sure by the shape of that, but yeah, I think it is. El sofá. Sofa. I mean, it's exactly the same as the English, bar the accent over the A there, or the stressed vowel. Excuse me a moment. Okay. What else are you going to find in a living room? So, radiator. I mean, that's pretty similar to the English there. El radiador. El video. I mean, that word itself hasn't really lost its meaning because we still use the word video for digital, so we're okay. But of course, we're not really going to see many VHSs anymore. But el video. So you might have DVDs or Blu-ray hanging about in your living room. El periódico. Newspaper, or like a periodical, I think is the English word. Not something that you would hear just sort of flying around, sort of walking around places. You don't normally hear people say it like that. El periódico. Yeah, it's literally a newspaper. La mesa. That is a table. You may also come across la mesita, which is literally when when Spanish speakers use a ordinary word and they add ita or ito at the end, it basically makes it a little version of that object or noun. And they do it as like a cute way of sort of endearment to their friends and family as well. So, for example, one of my friends would call me Penita. It's like it can be in a term of endearment, but it can also be to describe a smaller version of itself of something. So, like a mesita would be like a coffee table or a low down or much smaller table than like a dining table or a desk, that sort of thing. You might also find las cartas, letters, in your living room, or you might find them elsewhere, depends where you put them. Let's move up to the top right corner, el dormitorio. La habitación is also another one, which is like the room in which you habituate, is that the right word? I'm not very good at English, believe it or not. So you've got el dormitorio, bedroom, which you might find la cama, which is a bed. Cobija. So you might find pillows or blankets, covers. Edredon, la silla. So that's just a chair, a silla. El peine, comb. You might remember from the toothbrush a little while ago, el cepillo, hairbrush. La sobana. Oh, sorry, that's a pillow. I apologise. La sobana, pillow. So cobija. Sorry, I don't know why I keep doing ya. Cobija is a duvet. Sorry, it's been a long time. La alfombra, like a type of rug, kind of thing. El armario, wardrobe, or like an armoire sort of thing. And we've also got, what the hell does that say? Almohada. So is that a pillow or what? Don't know. Oh dear, it's been a while. Sorry guys, I'm very rusty. I'm gonna move on. I'll get back to you on this one. La cómoda. So that's like a chest of drawers, or is there another word for that? Like dresser, nightstand almost. No, not quite. No, I wouldn't. Maybe a nightstand. Or la cómoda. Yeah. It's like just that chest of drawers where you keep stuff. Like in this picture. El espeja, or espejo is another one I've seen, is a mirror. La lámpara. Sorry, my brain is not working today. I'm so sorry. Lámpara. Lamp. Looks very much like the English, that one. Los carteles. Posters. Almost like paper. Yeah, sorry, I'm trying to remember how these words, because you've got cartas, which is very similar to letters, paper. So it's like a little paper thing. Well, it's a poster, but I'm just sort of trying to show you where the words come from. El colgador de ropa. So you might not necessarily find that in the bedroom. I think we're now moving down to el paseo, which is, what do people call that in English? It's kind of, my mum calls it a porch, but I wouldn't have called it a porch, because my conception of what a porch is outside. So it's more like your entrance when you come into a house. I mean, people have different words for these, and I've never known what that is in English. El paseo, but it's like the entrance of your house. You're inside, and you've got the rooms out in front of you, and yeah. And some people will keep like their coat pegs. El colgador de ropa. Ropa is like it's like clothes, coat sort of thing. El teléfono, telephone. That looks pretty much like the English there, just slightly spelled differently. Some people do keep their phones out in their hallway. Do people call that a hallway? Yeah, see, we don't really have that where I live. I mean, I'm currently living at my partner's house at the moment during lockdown, but at home we don't have that kind of area. We literally have a door where we keep shoes and coats just there by the front door, and then there's another door, and then you're in the living room. and that's where we keep our phone. So this is always a little bit like strange for me because I'm like, oh, does everyone keep their phone out in El Paseo? Your whatever your El Paseo is, if you call yours a hallway or porch, like my mum weirdly does. I don't know what it's called in English. That's quite bad, isn't it? Entranceway. And is that a right word?
Yeah. Usually.
Foyer, whatever. It's basically the first bit you get to when you get in a house. But yeah, some people keep their phones in there, some people don't. I mean, personally, I always like to have a chair near where my phone is so that I can sit. Yeah. Anyway, next. So we have. Where am I? I've lost myself. Escaleras. Las escaleras is stairs. Escaleras. Stairs. Steps. Basically. Las gatas. We've been through. Oh, we're going around where we were originally. Yeah. So that's basically places of the house and things you might find in the house, and me completely brutalizing those words, so I do apologise. As you can tell, I'm a little bit rusty and I cannot see those words very well, so I'm going to get you a clearer set of words because these weren't very clear when I was actually writing this on my phone and putting it together, and it's not very clear on my laptop either, so that's my fault. I'm really sorry. I will get you a better vocabulary sheet so that you can actually see what these words are. Yeah, so I'm going to move on. And I'm just going to give you another verb to have a play with, because while you're at home, this is probably good practice for you, because you've got all these rooms in your house, and by all means have a Google, have a look online for more vocabulary, because believe it or not, there are many ways to say like living room. Some people in English call it like a sitting room or a drawing room if you're a bit posher than me. Sorry. A study or an office or a lounge, or some people might even say salon. Who knows? Kitchen, dining room, eating room, maybe mess hall is another word that we might use in English, although that's more sort of a different way of describing it. But yeah, there's more than one word for everything, so yeah, just be aware of that you might come across other words and going on, but Penny said it was this. There are a lot for like the same thing, very much like we have in English, so it's so just sort of keep that in mind. But like for example, if you find some more places of the house, like you've got a garage or a garden, I think I might even have. What have I done to this? Yeah, okay, cool. So that's fine. So what we're going to do, what I'm going to suggest that you do when you're sort of bored, and if you want to practice your Spanish with your family, is while you're in different parts of the house, just say where you are, or you could say ¿Dónde estás? To your mum, dad, family member or whatever, or you could even say it over your video chat if you really want, just for the sheer hell of it, just to get some practice in. So the next verb that we're going to use, because this is massively important, this one, and there is another one, but I'm not going to do that this week because I don't want to overload you guys too much, because I've just gone over a ton of vocabulary that I've butchered. Plus ir is not, I mean, that was fairly easy, but it gets more complicated, and I'll give you two verbs for now to kind of play with, and then we'll sort of introduce more each week as we go, because there's naturally, like there is in English, there are hundreds or thousands of the verbs, and stuff gets complicated. I mean, the conjugations, not so much in the present tense, but when they go into other tenses, oh boy. That is something I still struggle with even today, and even native speakers have problems with. So not all of them, but I'm mainly saying sort of like things like subjunctive. Don't look it up, you'll give yourself a headache, trust me, it's hard. So estar, which is to be, I'm just gonna sort of chime in with this one as well. There are actually two verbs that are very important in the Spanish language that actually translate as to be. For example, like I am, you are, she, he, they are. Again, you are, again, we are, for example. So there's two major verbs that you need to know, and they do differ depending on what they're describing. For this week only, we're going to just talk about estar, to be, as in, so when we use estar, for the moment, I only really want you to worry about this as a temporary state. For example, you might be feeling, I don't know, you might be feeling good one day, but tomorrow you might be feeling bad, so you could say estoy bien, I'm good today, or you could say estoy más o menos, I'm okay. So it's kind of like how you're feeling, like a temporary state. Or it could also mean where you are or where you'll be. So a place. So you could say estoy aquí, I am here. Estás, you are allí. But we'll go over aquí, allí, and the other allí later, because this is, yeah. I don't want to be running over for several hours. Estar. So, let's conjugate this. So, yo, it will be estoy. Estoy. Tú. And Penny, you're so naughty. I didn't put the blooming accent over the U again. Tú estás. Estás. Now, where you can see those accents on the verb, for estás, you want to stress that vowel. Estás. Just remember that, okay? So for él, ella, or usted, which is the formal you, so you're talking to a police officer, a nurse maybe, a doctor, older person, person of authority, person you don't know, está. So it's similar to estás, but está. Nosotros, or nosotras, but mostly use nosotros, estamos. Estamos. Vosotros o vosotras. Estáis. 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 And of course, so that vosotros is you, but collectively you, more than one of you, but if we're friends or we know each other. And of course, ellos, ellas, maybe ellas, please do correct me if you know better than me on that one, or ustedes. Están, están, están. Now I am emphasising a little bit more on those accents, so just remember to not to explode too much with the están. Don't go están, están. So you mainly want to focus on where that accent is in that verb. Están, están. Believe it or not, if you don't always get the accent in the right place on verbs, you can completely change the meaning of the whole thing. Yeah. So, estoy, I am. Estás, you are. Él, ella, or usted, está. Nosotros o nosotras, estamos, we are. Vosotras, informally you, many of you, estáis. Ellos, ellas, ellas, possibly, or ustedes, formally you, plural, están, están. So I've put a little bit under there as well just to help you, because I'm going to write a few bits occasionally on some slides, just so that if you're not watching the videos and you're just looking at the slides, you've got a little bit of an explanation. But I do regularly write in the group, talk to me if you need help. Like, just, I don't mind. I'm not perfect, I'm rusty, I'm just doing this for the sheer fun of it. I am not a native Spaniard or a native Spanish speaker. I'm natively British or English. Spanish is technically my third language, for I speak 6. And I'm also starting Dutch next month. So that might get a bit complicated. So, Yeah, I'm a language nerd, so I'm not perfect. I do make mistakes, and of course, I've not really had the opportunity to speak this much Spanish for about a decade or more, and it's been a while. And I'm enjoying it, but of course, naturally, I'm going to mess it up occasionally. So I do apologise. I don't mean to cause any offence, and of course, anything that I do recognise as a mistake, I will automatically correct, or I will write in the comments section below if I've noticed further mistakes. You know, don't worry. I mean, we're human, and I'm just doing this to share a bit of fun for you guys, for me, and well, how cool would it be if you just learned a little bit of Spanish or a different language, or I don't know. There's some people out there actually doing other things like teaching. Oh, poo! I can't remember what the word is. Aerobics and things like that. Tai Chi and yoga. And sorry, my brain went. Sorry about that. So I will put occasionally a little bit underneath, because I do appreciate that not everyone's going to want to watch the videos and hear me speak, because I'm not going to lie, I ramble. So I will write a little bit on the slide. So I've put here, usted is a formal way of saying you, or ustedes is formally addressing you, but more than one person. We use it for people we don't know, older and important people, or people of authority. So it just kind of recaps what usted and ustedes is. And there is some differences across the Spanish-speaking world where people will use usted or tú a bit differently. Depending on the country. So some may not even use vosotros, but some might use vosotros and only use that, or some will only use tú. Some will use usted or ustedes. It varies. It even varies, like from one neighbouring country to another in Latino America. So it's naturally, it may not apply everywhere in the Spanish-speaking world, but I always feel I do agree with my Spanish teacher, who was from Chile. She basically said, you know, it's handy to know all of them, because naturally, if you're in a country and they say one of these words and you think, oh god, what the hell does that mean? Well, this just helps with the foundation laying down first, doesn't it? You may not use them all, but it helps. Now, if you can see this, which I can, but of course I can always fix this slightly. I thought I'd sort of put some colour into my slides, because they're not exciting all the time. I don't really like bright white screens, because it can really mess up people that have Earlin syndrome or migraines. So naturally, I just want to kind of keep contrast a little bit down, so that's a little bit easier for everybody. And of course, any advice is welcome. So, where is it? So I was saying a minute ago that if you get some time while you're at home or talking, or even if you want to have a chat with me and you want to practice some of the use of estar or ir, then I'm more than happy to have a little chat with you. It's no problem. Do give me some warning first, because I don't always understand why people are randomly calling me. So do message me first, so that we can always arrange that. So what I'm going to suggest, if you want to, but again, I'm not your teacher and I'm not going to chase you for not doing your homework. No offence, but I don't care that much. I love teaching. If you want to learn something and you do, and you want help, great. If you don't, that's totally up to you. I'm not going to chase you for it. So, salas, which is rooms. So I have put el salón, el dormitorio, la cocina. Cocina is kitchen. La habitación, which is another word for bedroom, or el dormitorio. La sala de estar, living room, or el salón. And la sala de baño. I prefer this one to the other one, to be honest, or el baño. And sadly, all my words, well, most of my words are fit on the right hand side, where we've got objetivos. So these are different objects, so you can always have a look back at that worksheet a few slides back, or make some up if you really want, or you could randomly play hide and seek with your family. Oh, that could be really fun. Do it and film it. No, don't film it. So sorry, I'm mad. So you could always sort of say "Dónde está?" or "Dónde están?" and I'm so sorry. It's las sillas or la silla. So I apologise. I'll correct that in my notes later. So you could say "Dónde está la silla?" Where is the chair? And you could go la silla está en. En means in. En. I should have wrote that down. I will write that down. En el salón. Brilliant. Well done. The chair is in the living room. Perfect. What else could you say? So you could also say, let's have a look. Espejo. Mirror. El espejo. ¿Dónde está el espejo? Where is the mirror? Oh, okay. So where do you keep your mirrors? I don't know. Let's say I keep mine in the bathroom. So I could say el espejo está, because it's a single word, that one. Not my silly sillas, las sillas. Oh god, that's so embarrassing. Sorry. El espejo. So el espejo está. The mirror is in. Sounds very similar, doesn't it? En la sala del baño. Del baño, sorry, not there. Del baño. So my mirror is in the bathroom. That's where the mirror is, in the bathroom, which is behind you. I'm not going to show you because this is connected by an Ethernet cable because my Wi-Fi doesn't work. The Wi-Fi works, but my laptop Wi-Fi doesn't. It's and frankly, yeah, I don't want to disconnect you guys, so let's move on. So you can pick any word you want, and obviously if you don't know all the words, you want to go back to the worksheet or you want to Google Translate, it's up to you. Or you want to make some up or find some other words to use, go for it. Have fun with it. If you have any problems, ask me some questions, go for it. I don't mind at all. Or if you've got a dictionary lying around, grab your dictionary, find some random objects and just go, oh, okay, where is this? And then you can test each other and just have fun with it. Or you could ask me where it is if you really, really want to. I don't mind, I'm quite easy. So, I'm going to end it very shortly. So I've kind of gone over, so we'll just quickly run through what we've gone over quickly actually, because I have gone through quite a lot today. So we went over contracted articles. So when a and el become al, and of course when de and el become del. So remember those. I still make mistakes, as you probably heard a few seconds ago. So just keep that in practice. And yes, I should really practice what I preach. I will practice more. So keep those in practice. Remember, it's always de and el makes del, and a and el makes al. The other ones, they're fine. You're okay. Don't worry. But it's important because it makes it sound much nicer. And obviously we went over our pronouns to say, so we can always play with this at home. Make yourself some little cue cards if you like, or little squares of paper or what have you. Yo, tú, él, etc. Oh, pardon me. We've also gone to different places today. So we can now say I go, you go, and so on. So we can go to different places. And I've given you a list of places to go. Of course, I will be uploading some more materials on my group on Facebook. So there will be some other bits and pieces on there. These are pieces that I've found on the internet that I thought actually these are very useful. They're also things that I've actually had in my own Spanish lessons back in the day when I was at uni doing this course. I did my degree in modern languages. I took 4 languages, I think. Hang on. Yeah, I did. Yeah, I did 4 languages in my second year, and then I thought Portuguese was too hard. Well, I don't know. I've learned Brazilian and Portuguese, so I can read it and I can pronounce it and I can understand it, but to speak it, no. I can't do it. It's really strange. Anyway, I did 4 languages at uni because I'm mad and I did it for fun because this is my jam. But yeah, these are some resources that I may have had at uni. I didn't get them from my uni books, by the way. I just went, oh, I remember that. So yeah. And obviously these are other resources that I found, and maybe some resources that I've done before as well, because I think, you know, they help me, they might help you, and I'll upload whatever I can in the meantime as well, because it's always great to share, isn't it? And there are some fantastic resourceful websites out there, really, really good, and groups as well on Facebook if you want to look at language exchange groups and things like that. We did some exercises about going to different places, and we talked about things at home, because at the moment all of us are at home, well, most of us are all at home. We're talking about May 2020, which is the upload of time of this video. Hopefully when you're watching in the future that you're not in lockdown anymore, but naturally everyone please stay safe. But just to make it a bit more interesting at home, if you want to practice some Spanish and you want to incorporate some of your daily routine in with this, do it. It'll be fun, and expand your vocabulary, of course. And we've looked at the first verb to be estar. We'll look at ser next week. Ser is a little bit more complicated, sort of. It's not too bad, but it does work a bit differently to estar, and you need to always make sure that you know the difference between the two and use them appropriately, naturally. And of course we've also looked at some just objects and places, so you can always mix and match them into sentences. So on top of that, I found this, and I thought this was really cool. Just a bit of vocabulary. At the moment it may not make that much sense, but you might be able to get some sentences out of this. So I will write this as an exercise on a document for you, so that you can see some examples of how to incorporate this. So if you're to use the verb ir, to go, you can probably use it with a lot of these, but you need to sort of put a. So I am going to do something. So for example, voy a tender la cama. I am going to make the bed. But to be honest, these are just little bits that I thought I'd throw in there, because these are things that are very much, well, there are daily routines in normal life, but they're things we're thinking about a lot at the moment, because this is all we're able to do while being in lockdown. So I thought it'd just be interesting just to incorporate some things. Of course, I'm going to give you a lot more vocabulary as time goes on. It is going to get harder, I'm afraid, guys, because yeah, it is. But of course, we'll go like little chunks each week, so don't worry, you're not going to be suddenly next week you have to be fluent in Spanish. That's ridiculously quick. I mean, there might be people that can do that, and if you are, you're gifted, you're amazing. How did you do it? I need to know your secrets. But yeah, it's pretty hard. But of course, these are just like little things. So some people, you're working from home, some people might be going home from work, so you might be an essential worker. You've got comer, to eat. We will, in the future, we will talk about things about like eating food and different things and vocabulary around food, because we've got all these different places to go to in the city, but what do we do in those places? So this is something that's coming, so don't worry, I've got it all in the pipeline for future episodes or videos. So yeah, this is just basic vocabulary, but I thought it was very applicable for the moment that we're in at the moment. And it's just, it's just something else that you can show off to your friends and say, oh look, I can do this in Spanish because I'm a nerd. No, this is just me, I'm a nerd. I don't know about you. You might be a nerd. I don't know. It's good. Fine. So that is pretty much it from me today. So if you do get stuck on anything that I've gone through with you today, then do feel free to contact me. I don't mind. Just send me a little message first, and I'll do my best to go over things with you. next week, yeah, as I say, we're going to go over ser, which is the other verb for to be, and then of course we're going to take some scenic routes around the city, and we're going to do some things. We're going to do it all in the safety of our living rooms, bedrooms, or wherever we are from home in the lockdown. But yeah, I'm going to try and make it a little bit jazzy next week. A little bit jazzy with jazz hands. Well, mostly pictures. Sorry, guys. It's just going to be pictures of stuff, but we're going to just, go on a little bit of a adventure and learn some vocabulary and some verbs and how to say things, how to order food. That's very important. How to order drinks. That's even more important for some. Little bits and pieces that we're just going to go over, and things that we might find whilst going around town or city or what have you. So we've done the house today. Let's do something else next week. So yeah. So until then, please do stay safe. Please continue to wash your hands and look after yourselves. Auntie Penny says so. And also, just take care of each other and keep in touch and stuff. And yeah, it's a bit of a rubbish time right now. And yeah, spread some joy wherever you can. And yeah, stay safe. And I will see you guys next week with a new video, a new lesson. Eventually I'll stop making mistakes in my spelling. I'm really sorry, guys, but I will make some amendments to correct those in the video comments as well, and on the slides when I reshare them onto the group. So don't panic, I am aware of the mistakes. I'm just going to update those for you. But thank you very much if you've caught on to this video today. Do let me know if you've been watching, and if this is your first time on YouTube, for example, do subscribe if you want to. And hit that notification bell, because that way you're going to always get notified. He's laughing at me. Notified when I do another video. There are naturally going to be some other videos of my random antics on there, so it's not always just Spanish, but yeah, there'll be some more Spanish videos to come. And of course, if you want to join my Facebook group, I will link it in the YouTube video below. Just be aware that this is recorded live and of course not scripted, so all of this is just me as I am running through a slideshow with you with literally no script, or this is the only prep I have. So thank you very much if you've come and watched this today. I really do appreciate it, and I will speak to you guys soon. So do take care of yourselves, stay safe. Hasta luego.